Hey everyone, welcome to this full moon Sidereal Astrology forecast for May 18th, 2019. All right, so we have a full moon in Libra. If you're expecting me to say Scorpio just then, be sure to check out the link down below. We are using the actual size of the constellations, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. All right, so full moon in Libra, the scales, great time now of incorporating more balance into our life. Libra is about finding that centered approach, and this could be in our personal life, of course, finding more balance there, but also interpersonally in our relationships, usually a lot of themes pertaining to it with Libra. So mutuality, reciprocity, mutual benefit, doing the right thing, justice. These are the kind of themes that we'll likely notice with this full moon. And it's just a really good time of incorporating this more balanced, fair sort of approach into our life and personality. So with this full moon, we do have an opposition up to Mercury, which is quite common with full moon. So just good to incorporate a bit of practical energy. Communication can be very important with this. There's also a sextile up to Pluto and a trine up to Chiron. So maybe some empowering energy could be nice. Maybe feeling empowered, maybe healing energy, feeling a bit healed and rejuvenated with this full moon. We also do have a couple aspects. Mercury will be trining Pluto, adding to that, and Venus over Uranus. So maybe some spontaneity, getting outside of our comfort zone. Really good with these types of things. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here's the chart for the full moon. It will be at 16:08 Eastern Time of the Americas on Saturday, May 18th. All right, so here is the chart. We have the sun and moon in opposition, which is what full moons represent. Full moons generally are a time of heightened energy. It is the highest energetic part of the lunar month. And they also symbolize completion. So if there was anything that new has shifted into your life, new perspectives, new beginnings from over the past 2 weeks, this could also be a heightened part of that, a cultivation of it. But also with full moons, it's good to reflect back on the past 6 months, incorporating the solar sun side of the cycle. So maybe thinking back if there was anything about 6 months ago that started anew in regards to really anything, but regarding balance, fairness, relationships, anything on the Libra level. Really good to also notice maybe coming to completion at this time. But most importantly, it's about doing a status check. It's about saying, okay, what's been working with incorporating more balance into our life and what hasn't been? And how can we now, over the next 6 months, incorporate more of this balance, fairness, mutuality, right? Centered approach, which is what Libra represents. So Libra, the scales, is all about seeing the duality, both sides of the coin, both sides of the scale, right? Weighing both sides and finding that centered, more moderate approach, you could say. So great time to do this with our personal life. Is there any areas out of balance? Any aspects or perspectives that we can bring back into balance, or at least see both sides of it? All right, incorporate more of that can be great. Now, most of the time and very often, Libra does represent relationships, or at least in terms of how are we interacting with other. So in this case, also balance. Libra, the scales, is about finding mutuality, reciprocity, what's mutually beneficial, focusing on others' needs as well as our needs and balancing both, right? Fairness, justice, morality also, especially if it just deals with surface level relationships. You know, Libra often is just our perspective of other. And that can be, of course, our close relationships, but also just surface everyday relationships as well. Doing the right thing, wanting fairness, justice, things like this. So great time to do a status check. How are these sort of perspectives of balance in our life and in our personality that we can now further develop moving forward? All right, so that's the most important thing with the full moon. There's no major aspects with it. We do have an opposition to Mercury, which is actually quite common with full moons or new moons because Mercury is always within about 45 degrees of the sun. But still, nonetheless, incorporating some of this Mercury and, of course, also the sun energy, which you could also see as balance because full moons are in and of themselves oppositions which require balance. So in this case, Mercury and the Sun are in Taurus. And again, we are using the uneven constellations in the sky, which is why it's not Aries, for example. But incorporating more Taurus energy into this Libra full moon can be great. Taurus specifically is about the matters of self that deal with self-reliance, our own personal values, and our own resourcefulness. And it is very much geared towards our own values, our own sort of desires and things that we want, and our own self-reliance. So you can see the difference there between the other oriented energy of Libra, which again right now is really good to incorporate, but balancing that with our own personal values, our own self-reliance, doing our own thing, being grounded, stable, enjoying things in life, right? Cultivating that resourcefulness, things like this, really good to balance with the full moon. And specifically with Mercury, maybe just good to incorporate some communication and some flexibility, adaptability, willingness to, adapt and change and be light on our toes with whatever these full moons are. So with that being said, it's very important to look at Venus, because Venus is the ruler of Libra, and she's right now in Aries going over Uranus. So this can be a lot of fire energy, actually. So when it does come to, again, the relationships or incorporating more balance, a lot of this will be through implementing things like our independence, things like our assertive side. Really good time to be cultivating our assertive side. Really good time for taking initiative, right, towards things that, again, we desire, we want in life, that incorporate our own personal needs. Now, in the relationship side to it, this could be assertiveness in relationships, directness, independence there. Also, maybe even doing active things with our relationships. This kind of fiery energy, really good to incorporate with this full moon as well. So with that being said, Uranus, though, activating Venus, makes this full moon maybe quite different. It's a really good time for incorporating a bit of spontaneity, change, difference, getting outside of our comfort zone, really. Challenging our own status quo right now. There can be a lot of new experiences, again, involving balance or relationships. So good to mix things up, have a bit of that spontaneous energy, really good with this full moon. All right, so those are the most important things. On a more minor level, we do have a sextile up to Pluto and a trine up to Chiron. Both of these are comets, and they do represent transformation. So with the sextile to Pluto, these are both easy aspects. In this case, we could be maybe open to change, maybe feeling a bit self-empowered. With the trine to Chiron, there might be some healing taking place in a very positive kind of way, in a way that we feel a bit refreshed or rejuvenated. All right, transformed even in that sense with Chiron. So really good, deeper energy that's just supporting this full moon, giving us that more depth and more healed kind of rejuvenated energy with these more minor aspects to the full moon. All right, everyone. So that's the full moon in a nutshell. Here are also the times here. As you can see, 1600. Again, Eastern time of the Americas for the full moon. We'll likely be feeling the energy both Saturday and Sunday. There could be some shifts and pivots with the full moon where, again, whatever we become aware of during this time or do the status check with might shift and pivot. And again, we can incorporate this energy for the next 6 months based on whatever awareness we gain during this weekend. Now, along with it, again, Venus over Uranus, that's going to be mostly on Saturday, that spontaneous enjoyment and spontaneity in relationships. And there's that trine with Mercury and Pluto giving us that depth, that deeper mind, maybe even deeper communication, which again is great to incorporate with that balance. All right, but fundamentally, great time to do a status check. How are the energies of balance in our life? Weighing the scales, seeing both sides of the coin, all right, the duality of life, and finding that centered approach to things, whether it's personally or interpersonally, through, again, that fairness and justice. All right, and down below in the comment section, I will put which house this is for your sign specifically. Do check that out for your sidereal sign if you want a more detailed look at what specific area this might be. It might be in the area of career for you, it might be around home, whatever the area is, you can check that down below. All right, so everyone have a fantastic full moon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time for the next daily video. Take care.